Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here too. Rah! Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and twos, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios, adjacent. That's right, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Good. Just go to SamTripoli.gold. Use the promo code Tinfoil, and you can get in on the precious metals games for as little as $50 a month. Get in on it. Why this fiat currency is going cuckoo. Okay, grab it now, guys. We got a great episode with you. We have Nate Burba. We go deep into the assimilation, deep into the Sophia, the first feminist God. It's a deep episode. We talk about Jesus, what he represents. It's a great episode. I love it, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be in. I want to thank real quick everybody who came out to Tulsa. Thank you guys very much. I got Tampa Bay, Cancun, Batavia, Columbus, Ohio, Pottstown, PA, Morristown, New Jersey, Phoenix, Arizona. Go to samtripoli.com. Grab those tickets now, and let's get into the show. All right, guys, let's get into it. He is a game developer. We're very excited. You know, the powers that be were trying to stop us, but we're in it to win it. Please welcome to the show, Nate Burba. Nate, how are you, buddy?
Good. I'm great. Thanks for having me, Sam. It's a dream come true to be here. Honestly, you guys are legends.
You know what? My advice is dream bigger, buddy. But we're happy to have you here. We're honored and privileged anybody would ever join us in our little show. So, Nate, for those who aren't familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, I'm originally from Philadelphia. Moved to Los Angeles, started Survios, which is a virtual reality company. We make a number of different games there. Creed Rise to Glory, you see behind me, that's kind of the most famous one. And then I have a new company, Refactor Games, so you can check that out. We make Football Simulator, which is up on Steam, early access now. And I think I'll be coming out with some stuff under the moniker Gnostic Nate to follow after Mystic Mark. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in the future.
Okay. All right. Maybe we should talk about that. I love it. This virtual reality stuff, how real do you think it's going to get?
Not that real.
Like, I mean, the whole thing is, and you know, and I have my opinions on it, that virtual reality is going to get so big and they're going to just drive us all into virtual reality. I always believe, Nate, that human beings have only so far they're willing to go. I think before they get out of their natural comfort zone. So it's like, you know, they want to have us, and maybe we'll get to that day where we have giant glasses and all of a sudden, like, everything we look at is just data being crunched. And I don't know if people want that. At this moment, probably not, but who knows 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What are your thoughts on that? Because they think, you know, part of the depopulation program is going to get everybody into these virtual worlds. And do you think that's going to happen?
I think it's really tough. I mean, take it from someone who's a VR pioneer and been doing VR development for a long time. There's just fundamental issues in getting you more immersed than we currently are at. We've kind of taken the existing technology and pushed it, I would say, pretty damn far, kind of as far as it'll go. But it's, you know, for example, you can see beyond 180 degrees. I can see my hand over here, even though it's past that kind of threshold point there. That's optically virtually impossible to do. So it's just very difficult. Then you have, you know, people don't want to put something on their face, and you know, there's this kind of litany of issues in getting somebody into VR. And then when they're in there, you know, you only want to be in there for like an hour to, maybe 2 hours at the most. It's kind of like hockey, right? You got to put all the stuff. and you get together and it's fun, right? But it's kind of like hard to do every time. It requires
so
an investment and a commitment, right? So I see it's not going to be basketball or soccer, right? That's going to be video games and television. It's going to be hockey, right? That's kind of the way I look at it.
You're so right about that. I've been in since DK1. I got the first Oculus developer kit, and it's always just I say that to emphasize how passionate I was about it. I was very excited about this tech, and I've gotten every iteration of anything they've made since then, pretty much. I returned the Apple thing because I'm like, that's too much fucking money. It wasn't bringing much to the table. It was really just a way to watch movies. I got a huge projector. I don't need that. But yeah, I never could stand these long sessions that you hear about some people doing, like the hardcore gamers that game in VR. I could never.
What's the longest you've done, Johnny? What's the longest?
I could do like an hour in VR. That's it. Like he was saying. I mean, it's just not.
Red Band goes for hours, which I've been on it.
I know. Yeah, I don't.
There will be people that will find themselves into it. It's like anything. It's like jujitsu, right? Like there's some people who can go twice a day, every day, forever, and they just love it. That's not for 99% of the population. But the question is, like, how advanced do you think we'll ever be a holodeck level where I can just walk in and then just surround myself with what appears to be completely real interactive situations? I mean, like,
can I ask you, Nate? I'm going to tag on your question there, Nate. Is that the point? Is it VR anymore when we have a brain interface? Because that's what it would require. That, or like, really advanced AR, which could project, with glasses probably, or contacts, something into the universe around you. Is that still VR technically?
Yeah. I mean, if you're able to create a virtual world that's a unique world unto itself, and you can walk around in that world and there's kind of no limits to it, that's VR. Whereas AR is you're augmenting the existing world, right?
Even if it's through like a direct brain interface, like.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a direct brain interface and that brain interface is adding things to the real world, then I would consider that to be augmented reality.
Okay.
All right.
But do you think through that we could get what Sam's talking about? I mean, I know much farther down the road. But.
I mean, the human body is not really designed for these types of interfaces. It's just like, if you're talking about surgery, right? I mean, at this point, I will never get another surgery in my life after what happened with, a few years ago, right? I'll put it that way. So the idea that the general populace would do that, it's just, and then there's just a myriad of technical issues. I don't even know where to begin with something like that, right? So,
what do you think about what about the latest? I mean, they're not calling it a prototype, I guess, but the new Meta AR glasses. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I haven't personally tried them, but I know they're very small. They're light, form factor. I don't know what the field of view is, like the horizontal field of view.
It's meant to be quite narrow. I don't have a number, but yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, right? So the smaller they make the form factor, the smaller the FOV has to be by natural optical properties. So if you're talking about 90, once you get past like 90 and lower, you're not in immersive, you're not being immersed anymore, right? You're just being immersed or whatever. It's just right in front of you, right? Might as well just be looking at your phone at that point, right?
Which that's what the Magic Leap solution was supposed to solve, right? With that, what's the technology where they project the light on your eyes? Is that?
Yeah, well, it turned out those guys raised $4 billion, and it turned out that their technology did do it.
Vaporware, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So that goes to show you that you can raise $4 billion on something that doesn't work, right? I mean, everyone should be taking notes here.
So crazy. That's so crazy. That is so crazy, man. So we are into the world of digital currency. People on this show think it is a highway to control, government control, being able to turn off your
But isn't, right? It's like choose a road. They all go, to the same place.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right. And it never becomes as obvious as some of us think it's going to be. It's slow rolled out. Not saying it's right, but there seems to be a game getting played right now. Bitcoin's on a run. I'm enjoying it. My girlfriend wants me to sell all my Bitcoin. It's really high, sell it all. I'm like, you don't understand what I'm doing here, okay? Outside of this fucking guy stealing all my Bitcoin in Celsius, I'm a holder. I like to hold. But the NFT world, we will look back at those early years of the crypto runs. I'd say in like what are we talking? Like 2020? What, 2018, 2019, whatever.
Yeah, there have
year?
been two distinct, right? There's like that period, and then like the Solana thing that's just happened where people have just been getting rich off of these. Also, these the meme coins. You got the shit coins from that period, and then the meme coins from this.
But back in the day, the shit coins were making people money too. It was like
Doge is killing it right now.
Right. That's a meme coin. We're talking shit coin. We're talking like cum rocket. Like that's what we're talking about.
Like Pepe, like
real
Pepe,
deep
like
shit.
Yeah.
So,
no, Pepe's a meme coin too. Yeah.
Okay.
That has the meme staying power though, Pepe. I feel like that's one of the number one memes, you know.
Yeah, it's probably
you think Pepe's gonna go for it? You think Pepe's gonna explode? You're a Pepe guy?
I feel like Pepes are just, I don't know, that's like digital currency right there when you're in those forums, right? Everything's about Pepes, you know. So
oh Jesus, gotta get my Pepe now. But the NFTs, they were hot, and I would always go, what is the practical purpose of these? They're okay, I own this. Yeah, how do I own this? Yay, now what? Like, and you know, we were all in the decentralized land and all that stuff, and it just didn't move quick enough for it to become something. What are your thoughts on NFTs, and how long till we actually have a world in which those would be relevant?
Yeah, I mean, NFTs have always existed. They existed on, you know, you're trading a Steam hat, right? I mean, they're not potentially unique, but by making that item unique, it's not like you're making it anything kind of special. So I've been running my business trying to basically get the crazy crypto money to pay for video games instead. And business has been good. Because I really, I don't know, it seems like a giant Ponzi scheme, I'll put it that way. And people are trying to build interoperability into NFTs and stuff like that. And it's all great, but it's kind of like, who cares, right? Like, what are you actually getting out of it, right? And you get to own your fucking video game character, whatever. I mean, once again, I don't know. I think the average person goes like, what the hell is that? You know, we're just a bunch of nerds.
It is interesting, dude. I mean, so many people lost so much money on those NFTs. So let's get into some of the things you want to talk about. Detoxing, discernment. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's simple. You know, the more you detox, the more your discernment goes up, right? You're basically, you start, you know, if you're vaccinated, right? And not just if you're vaccinated, but the number of ones you're getting, right? And then the number of crap that you're eating and, you know, the pills that you're taking and all that shit, right? That basically all calcifies your pineal gland. Among other things, right? It kind of stops the motility in your body. So motility is the number one aspect of health. You got to keep everything flowing, right? And basically, you know, we're just getting our Christos oil from God, and we're getting our you know, amount of that consistently, as well as other astrological cell salts, right? And so you got to keep the God spigot open, right? If it's not open, you'll start to get unhealthy. You'll start to die, right? That's where life comes from. That's where health comes from. So detoxing is just taking the metals, the fluoride, the aluminum, all that kind of stuff, just getting it out of where it's not supposed to be in the body, like encasing the pineal gland, and among other places. And then what happens is you start to discern things better, right? Because you're getting information from God as well. So that extra information, you say that you get a download, right? Well, you're not getting any downloads properly until you detox. Once you detox, the downloads are coming from God, and you're able to say to yourself, you're able to reconcile things. You're able to, you know, look at someone and maybe read what's on their face a little better. You're able to tell if someone's full of shit or not, right? Those types of things. You become kind of more powerful that way. So I'm all about the detoxing. And I went through I can tell you my little detox story, but I went through a very interesting detox. And basically when people detox, they become born again, right? Because they find God. It's a very common thing. That's why people find God in prison, because when they get there, they stop taking all the drugs and God only knows what that they had been on, and all of a sudden they have this incredible clarity, and then they get, you know, just like
that is
like
so interesting, dude. That is so interesting, because as I get cleaner, it's like I've been talking about this forever. People have heard it on the show. Simple versus easy. Simple, you know, easy is drugs, alcohol, pornography, fast food. 50-day 90-day fiance, you know, all that, you know, it's like, and I have some of those, like, I can't stop watching Ink Master. It's probably not good for my soul, but I love the show. Right. As you cut a lot of that stuff out, suddenly you start to vibrate in a higher level through the simple, which is working out, prayers, meditation, and all that stuff. I do feel like you get closer to God, and you start to open your what you're saying is your pineal gland. You know, when I've said this forever. Most of the time, I write jokes. They're downloads. They come fully formed from the opening. You know, sometimes I'll like kind of refine them, but beginning to the end, they come into my head. That hasn't happened lately because probably I'm eating like shit, and maybe I need to get out of that.
No, you don't. This is what's crazy. You don't have to do that at all. I mean, just like drugs can get you high, drugs can get you clean too, and they get you clean really fucking fast. I mean, you just chug some fenbendazole and some ivermectin and some Korean red ginseng and some ginkgo biloba and some chlorine dioxide. And honestly, man, I got a list of like 50 of them, and they'll all kind of do the same thing, and they'll just like clean you out. You do that and then do nothing. Lock yourself in a room, chain yourself to a bed for a day or two, and you'll be getting the best fucking jokes after that. I guarantee that.
Why am I locking myself down?
To do nothing. Literally nothing.
Oh, dude, that's impossible.
like the movie Red, right? You just lock chained to the bed, right?
Sam can't even go to a basketball game and watch the basketball game alone. He has to get up and like pace the concourse. Yeah,
I'm a certified crazy person. But
I said chain. Yeah, I know.
He'd probably chew his leg off. Honestly, like those foxes that get trapped in bear traps. You know, you hear about? Yeah, he would chew his leg off.
I couldn't see Sam in prison. I don't know. I don't even know.
That's why I don't break the law, dude. That's why I'm like, I'm not meant for that place. I was in jail one night, and I'm like, I never need to do this again. I didn't need to go back. But I agree with that, man. It's like I'm on this real spiritual journey right now. I'm trying to cut out a lot of stuff in my life. And it's a struggle, dude. It's a real struggle, but I'm trying, man. And yeah, it's just like, I want to get rid of these metals. Like I get rid of that. I'm trying to think about that. You have 50 things you think can help?
I mean, I took them. I took all of them at one point or another. And they all seem to do. I mean, I took fenbendazole for cows. I took ivermectin for horses.
What is fenbendazole? That sounds like something rich people bang.
It's the cure for cancer and surprise. And I want to.
Where do you get these, dude? Like ivermectin? Do I have to go to a real doctor?
Johnny has that. Johnny has all that stuff. Some of
Johnny,
it.
where are you getting that, dude? You dark webbing that shit?
I went to. There was this fabulous woman whose name I don't recall. She's a doctor. And she advertised her services and
Dr. Feelgood,
the kind of our circle, like she was a person who would like do online consultations with you if you got COVID. And then
it wasn't Dr. Love, was it? Dr. Ariana Love.
Oh, Johnny,
can't remember her name.
Want to say the name?
No, I can't remember. No, I can't remember. I don't know.
She's really good. Shout out to her. She's fantastic.
No, she would want to promote it, and I don't. It was an older lady. I don't. Is that a young woman? It was an older woman.
She's older, but not just middle, not old, not young. I would say
it was her and her husband, and they live in like a mobile home, like an RV that they travel the country in. Like they're kind of like retired practicing medicine. I don't think it's that person. I just don't remember her name. It's been so long. It's been like 2 years since I had it. But yeah, I still have some ivermectin left over from that.
I got one from my normal doctor, part of Cedar Sinai Medical System program, right?
Really?
Well, let me tell you, right? So, high level, young doctor, part of a high level program, Los Angeles, the best of the best, right? And after he prescribed ivermectin for me, little pills, which were fantastic, the insurance company just came right down on him, sent angry letters to me, angry letters to him. You can't do this. You have to stop doing this immediately. Not allowed to prescribe ivermectin, the life-saving cure for everything.
I'm sorry, I have her name. It was Dr. Margaret Aranda. There you go.
Now, Johnny, do you have a contact so that our friends can contact her?
No, I do know that she.
We'll include her in the notes, Johnny. We'll include her.
She needs to be defended because the California Medical Board has come after her.
These people. It's just unbelievable. If people really, it's like this whole thing with Trump right now, and everybody's feeling pretty betrayed based on his cabinet picks. Some people are feeling very betrayed. I don't know why you're feeling betrayed, because this is what he did the first time. He's still a better option than Kamala.
Of course he is. I don't get these people who are like coming like we're
it's not even close.
We're like people who've been in the desert for 4 years, you know, getting just a thimble of water. That's all it is. We're celebrating that. That's all. We don't think the world is cured of all the evil. You know what I mean?
The way people just react to like, oh, God, he's the Petraea. Dude, I knew he was going to do that. That's why I didn't vote for him. I voted third party, and I'm proud of that. But you know, with him, I have hope. But his cabinet is dimming that hope. I want peace. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our boy James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Dude, Bitcoin just went cuckoo crazy, dude. And you know what happens when Bitcoin goes crazy? All the other coins go crazy. The meme coins, the shit coins, the cum rockets, they all go nuts. Okay, guys, it has to piss you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still done nothing. Okay, it makes sense. Crypto's complicated and it's really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to know a thing about crypto to make the money like so many have. The copymycrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You simply just copy along. So let me tell you about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 50,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said, okay, that one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing right now and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. Okay, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You're not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers get full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, or you can keep buying some, okay? But there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any time. Go to the site and read it, okay? Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. It ended money worries for so many, it may just do the same for you. But what is the purpose of what I was just going to say?
Well, I can give you my Trump take if
okay, all right, go on.
Like a cold shower. So I always want to know the truth of things, and I during the the scamdemic, I got addicted to Yandex.com. Like
Yandex, dude. Do you like Yandex? I'm all about Yandex, dude.
You can't find anything without it, honestly. So if you want to find an American website from the 90s, right, or the early 2000s, you got to go to it's not on Google, right? And basically, there's this random website on there that makes a pretty good argument that Donald Trump died in 1989.
Hold on, and
all right,
here we go. Tell me about this. Donald Trump died in 1989.
Yeah, so what he did is if you go back to 1988, you'll see a lot of he's talking about foreign policy. He's kind of sticking his nose where it probably shouldn't be. He's on a bunch of shows, and he would dump on Ed Koch, right, the mayor of New York, right, and he would kind of shit all over him. And then all of a sudden, you kind of heard nothing from Donald Trump, and then he got a divorce, and it turns out he's broke, and he has to go bankrupt, and all this stuff, and he's on TV in '89, and then in '90 he comes back on TV, and he's a little bit shtickier. Right, he looks a little more like a piker, in my opinion, and he is all about like tabloid kind of stuff now, right? And if you go back, there's an argument to be made that the helicopter crash, where a few of his people died on it. There's an argument to be made that he actually died on that helicopter crash, and that they basically just replaced him with somebody, and that's why he got a divorce, and all these kind of things happened. And if you watch how he talks, he's very shticky, right? He clearly is doing some sort of consistent shtick, and it's very different than the guy in 1988, 87. That guy looks like in kind of like a really brilliant elitist kind of just guy, like a rich guy, right? They even look a little bit different in my opinion. But when I talk about discernment, this is a really important one. You got to go back and look at those videos and understand, is this the same person that I'm looking at? right? And so I went back and kind of looked at a lot of things because I need to make my mind up in my head, right? Whatever the truth is, I don't know what it is, but there just to be some sort of consistent truth in my head just to kind of be able to do day-to-day stuff. So yeah, this kind of actually makes a lot of sense. So if you just type in Donald Trump died in 1989, just put it in the index, the first thing that comes up is what you can look at. Yeah, that actually kind of makes sense from my perspective. And it's just essentially just been a guy. This is why he's orange. Why is he orange? Why is he so fucking orange? What does it matter, right? Well, it's easier, if you want to hide a mask hole, right, or things of that nature, probably better to be orange, right? It just kind of obfuscates everything more so, right? So I don't know. That's my take. Is he real? Is he fake? I don't know, but seems like it's a possibility that.
Okay, so you're like, so there's a possibility you think that he died in a helicopter crash.
Yes.
And
some people did die. Some people did die. I guess 5 people or something
three
like that.
died,
Yeah.
right? Is that what said, Johnny? 3?
I believe. Yeah, that
I'll
sounds.
pull it up.
All right. Yandex says shit. 3 aides. Chopper crash kills 3 aides of Trump. That's very interesting.
It would explain the hairline, right? Like the weird, because they said he had a scalp reduction. Maybe he just had a scalp replacement, so he'd have that because that Trump hair.
What is a scalp reduction?
It's where they used to, if you had a bald spot back in the old days, they didn't have hair transplantation or they hadn't perfected it yet, so they just take the bald spot and cut it out and stretch your skin and sew it back together.
Oh my!
Rogan got it. Is that the one Rogan got?
No, Rogan got
he
where
got
you
transplant.
pull hair chunk and then you put it up here.
Yeah,
now they've got.
Oof, I don't want to out somebody, but did Bill Burr do that too? Bill Burr looks like he did something like that.
Well, there was that thing that looked like Bill Burr got facelift or something like that.
Yeah, he's
got
got
the
the
side
scars,
of his
right?
head.
Yeah. Or
I
not
don't
scars,
know.
but bunched up skin. Yeah.
Everybody's shitting on Bill Burr right now. I thought his monologue was funny.
I did too.
I thought it was good.
Bill Burr, I'm not saying the Bill Burr standard is very high, so if that's a shame if that happened, that it's a little against brand for Bill, I feel like.
I don't think he hit what the country needed in that moment. I mean, you missed the mark for that.
Well,
but it was funny.
It's not good when somebody like Bill Burr is known for giving you the good shit about what was going on. It's like, I don't talk politics. You're like, okay, is this a Bill Burr clone? I mean, since when did you not talk politics? You've talked politics your whole life.
Yeah, dude, you were on Tough Crowd like every other week. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I just, and it's like, if you compare that guy, and people grow, okay? People grow. We change, maybe, and like, I'm going to speak for Sam here. I don't know what's like to be Bill Burr, where I can walk into any studio in Hollywood and get something made instantly. Like the amount of power that comes with, the amount of pressure it takes to keep that, and what he has to do. So, if you compare Bill Burr at the End of the World podcast versus that Saturday Night Live sketch where he's like, I don't get political, and you're like, dude, you were a giant Trump fan, like at the End of the World podcast. And now suddenly when he's back in, you're not. And maybe that has to do with life, growth, his wife, all these different things, like children coming in, being in LA for a while and just meeting all these different types of people and realizing that maybe you shouldn't be. I don't know, dude.
Have you seen the video of Anthony Cumia talking about how Burr wrote him off? Like Rogan, this is straight from Anthony Cumia's mouth.
Yeah.
Rogan tried to get them together to sit down and kind of hash things out. And Burr comes in there, sits down with him. They try to make peace, talk, like small talk. And then Burr eventually says, like, listen, I can have nothing to do with you professionally from now on. It sounds like it just kind of, just said like, hey, dude, it was after the Times Square thing with Cumia.
I'm sure it has to do with, his wife's opinions and what guy here wants to sleep on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
That's
he would have if he would have voted for Trump, his lady's not getting him no pussy. That's for sure. She's one of those ladies. She's like, nope, you're not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, it just like he can't sit there. I mean, as the guy who makes fun of how retarded women are, you cannot tell me you think Kamala Harris was a better choice. You just can't, Bill. There's no world in which what we know about you think she's the better choice. It's fine if you didn't want to vote or whatever you think, that's fine. But we just don't know what he is. I'm never going to shit on comedians. I'm just not. I'm not the guy that likes come on and this guy bombed or that guy bombed. I'm not that dude. I just think it's just an interesting thing. But you go back to, did Bill Burr get his face done? I don't know, man. He's in front of the camera all the time. It's probably when you start seeing that stuff sagging, and it's hard. Listen, Bill Burr opens up with a joke about, I got the flu and I was just trying to figure out who gave it to me. And some people took that as, oh, dude, that's him trying to do woke shit or whatever it was. I know what that is.
What do you
Bill
mean?
Burr.
Well, how could it be woke? I don't quite understand what that means.
Well, because everyone says Bill Burr's gone woke, and like you wouldn't.
No,
talk
but what
about,
is how is that bit? Well, I don't get that. What were
well,
they
because what it is it's from what I don't know. I'm not saying I agree with it, because that seems to be like Bill Burr isn't taking chances. Bill Burr, there's guys deep on the right that don't think Bill Burr is the same Bill Burr. And I think Bill Burr is great. I just think that Bill Burr, like, I think when you're Bill Burr or Joe Rogan or any of these guys that can't walk in society without getting mobbed, the minute you think you can find a joke that is relatable, you run with it. Right. So Bill Burr is like, yeah, dude, everyone gets the flu, and you start trying to solve crimes on who got you sick. And then the punchline is at the end, did I meet any Asians? Which goes back to the Wong flu or the Hong Kong flu or, the Chinese flu joke, which is in itself edgy. Okay. He's doing jokes about Asians on Saturday Night Live. I thought it was funny. I get it.
Well, but what is the flu though?
Well, hey, dude, you're on the right show for that. I argue all the time. I have to go on these shows and I have to pick and choose. I'm getting a lot of shit right now because I was on a show with Roseanne Barr and Jimmy Dore, and Jimmy Dore and I both have strong feelings about what's happening in Gaza. And Roseanne Barr is the opposite. She thinks the opposite of that. And, I'm just going to tell everybody right now, like, I'm not the guy that's in with everybody. I'm blessed to be allowed to come and perform. But there's guys like, if Kurt Metzger says some crazy shit on Jimmy Dore, he'll be right back. If Theo Vaughn says something crazy on Joe Rogan, he'll be back. SamTripoli says that, it might be a while till he's back. You know what I'm saying? So I've even when I started doing comedy, when I first started doing stand-up, I always respected the house. That's just who I am. I save my rage for shows like this. I save my rage for Twitter. But I tend to, like, when I go on people's shows, like, what do you want to talk about? I'll talk about that and we'll go where you want to go. I'm not the guy who wants to do gotcha interviews and getting host face and all. That's just not me, dude. I've never been that guy. You'll never see that. I'm not that dude. So like,
I want to combine the two. I want to do crowd work, but I also want to do the hard conspiracy thing. So, for example, technically, most of any crowd at any comedy show is retarded, right? Like,
no, you're told. What?
No,
Welcome.
Yeah, no, because of the vaccines and the fluoride, I can literally go out and be like, "You're retarded." That's my joke. It's just simply to call the individual people in the crowd retarded and start there.
Stop doing my act, dude. No, but I'm with you, dude. I mean, I might have done one of my last sets at the Comedy Store last Thursday because I went right out after like the election and just started ripping everybody, crying about Kamala. I literally had a discussion with a good friend of mine in comedy who I love, and he's like, dude, people in LA are taking it real hard. Like, they're sad and depressed. I go, what?
Dude, you had a packed show yesterday. And for some reason, you couldn't sell it to the rim. There was a couple seats there, and I was like, and I was talking to Dana.
You're totally right.
I was talking to everybody, and we were thinking people are still sad. They're still getting over Trump winning, and they're like, I don't want to go out. I honestly didn't think till I saw your show yesterday. I was like, this might be a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had an action-packed show that usually nothing but like theater.
Famous.
Like, all these people play theaters. And it's just like, it was like 175 people, which is hilarious that's a small crowd in LA.
There's a human psychology at play here. People have to change their minds on their own time and their own terms.
Yeah,
so when you show them the truth, they kick back real hard with, no, what I've always believed is true. And now let me be sad because I love whatever the fuck her name is, and whatever. And then you'll see 6 months later they'll start coming around, but it wasn't you who influenced them. No, it was them, right, making their own decision, right, because they need that for their own psychology, right.
It's really nuts to me. But the reason I bring that up is like I go on these shows all the time, and people want me to like I don't believe in viruses. I think there's some weird kind of they might have created microbiomes.
Skeptical when I was 8 years old, to be honest. They showed, because they talked about HIV. I remember trying to scare us, and it was literally a cilia, and it was like one other cell, and they're like, well, this is HIV, no cell wall, we don't know how it survives in the wild, it just does, they just tell us, right? It turns out that was a fake research paper from the 1950s where they smudged some cells in a test tube, and whatever was fucking left, they're like, there's the virus, right? It was just some fucking junk, basically, and that junk propagated to me as a fucking 8-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever it was. And that's in the back of my mind. I was always skeptical. So when I kind of realized this, it was like realizing something I always knew,
Well, I've been on a journey with it about what is real, what is not real, and just everything lines up to me that this thing is just a fucking emperor's new clothes, a way to get us to put toxic metals in us. And like the notion that you have to get a flu vaccine every year is absolutely insanity to me. It's absolutely insane seeing that I get sick once, like when I get sick, I'm 3 days later, I'm fine. Yeah. Like when I stopped doing drugs, I used to do a lot of speed. I would have like 3-day, 4-day sicknesses because my body was out of like whack. But now that I don't, I'm done with a sickness in a day and a half at the most. Yeah. And the people just keep getting these vaccines because they're trusting. And it's like, I've seen a bunch of people just put out these wonderful docs about how full of shit HIV and AIDS is. And it's like suddenly this vaccine comes out and people's immune systems are shot. And they're like, oh, by the way, we cured AIDS. AIDS is cured. It's been cured. If you get told you got AIDS, we've cured it. You're good to go. You're like, wow, isn't that fucking convenient? And shouldn't that be a way, way bigger celebration? And nobody cared. Oh, we cured HIV. Nobody's celebrating in the streets? Nobody? I mean, that should have been the biggest gay pride fucking event ever.
They're celebrating in their way,
Oh, they're celebrating. Okay. They're celebrating.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to participate in that celebration.
Maybe he does.
Okay. Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, it should have been a bigger deal. It's not.
Yeah. Well, because the people deep down know the truth because of anamnesis, right? I mean, everybody, for Socrates, everyone knows the truth really deep down. So, once again, maybe people are making their moves to have their own. I mean, my mom, who's a lifelong Democrat, was stumping for Trump, calling, like up to like 100 people for Trump. People are turning, the wheel is turning. People are changing. It takes a while, it seems like.
But do we ever get to a point though in this evolution where maybe we give ourselves, I don't know, a third choice at the ballot? I mean, is that the
Oh, hold on a second. Who's we here? Okay. I mean,
the country, I mean, the
United Well, that's not me. That's they, right?
Well, no, I feel
the votes are counted by dominion. Okay. They might as well be called slavery. It's the whole thing's a fucking sham as far as.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the system then. Do you think there is any mechanism by which we could give ourselves a third choice? Like anything we could do as citizens of this country where we could give ourselves a real third? I mean, it would have to be such a dynamic character that would inspire a write-in, because the ballot access is so restrictive.
I don't know if they count the votes, honestly. Like, I don't know if the elections have been fraudulent or not the entire time, to be honest, just because they're so centralized. When you centralize everything, there's no way to tell if there's fraud. Just like with the vaccine, you can't tell if there's something bad in there, right? It's completely obfuscated. So these elections, they're so obfuscated that I don't know. I just have no, we would have to verify that it actually is a real election first. And then we would have to have a non-Illuminati candidate. And that would be, the last time we did that was William Henry Harrison, and he died in 30 days. And it's been their people ever since, right? So, and it was their people since before that too. George Washington, all of the rest of them are their people. There's a lot more that my point is, like, they control pretty much everything. So it's.
Who are they to you?
The rich families of the world. Right.
That's what I believe.
Santos Bonacci, pretty much take what Santos Bonacci says, a handful of other people like that. That's pretty much You know, like you look at the Mexican flag, right? It's a fucking Italian flag, right? I mean, you know, Italy owns Mexico, right? And Mexicans don't even know that. I think they're free, right? This illusion of freedom is kind of everywhere. It's pervasive. Why are the stars and stripes so gay, right? You know, it's because of them, right? The Star Spangled Banner and all this red and white and blue and all this stuff. Like, why, right? Well, it's Santos Bonacci would say red shift, blue shift. So they're doing all this symbolic stuff, and red shift, blue shift is basically so when you have a luminary and it's coming toward you, the Doppler effect, when it happens with light, causes the light to be what is it? Causes it to compress, and it's blue that way. And then when it's moving away from you, it decompresses from the Doppler effect. It's red. So basically, a lot of the stuff they do, a lot of the symbolism involves specific colors that mean things. You know, the eagle is actually the phoenix. You know, there's all these kind of you know, symbolism for kind of like how they run things. And the phoenix is basically like Carthage. They'll build a society up, and you don't know who runs it. And then right when you're about to figure it out, they'll destroy the whole fucking thing, and you won't know what's going on.
So crazy, right? And they just run it over the same play over and
thousands
over
of
again.
years. Now we're in a 4,000-year Babylonian captivity. We're still there.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And that's when I go, who runs everything? Babylonian bankers, dude.
Well, I mean,
Venetian bankers. And like, of course, the Jew world order people come in and start screaming at you that you're afraid to talk about it. And I'm like, I just think there's layers of this shit. And if it's too obvious who's running it, I think that's too obvious. They never, if you know their names, they're probably not running jack shit. They're probably playing their soldier, their manager, and they're not running everything. And like, just look for the symbolism everywhere. It's like
even the people at the top are not running everything. The people at the top are basically almost not there. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode, right? You get these like super old white guys who like barely say anything, like a Henry Kissinger type. And what's actually happening is they're communing with demons, and the demons are giving them orders, right? If you read Henry Macau, or you read
I'm in, dude. I'm in.
Yeah, that's actually who's at the top of the food chain. And they meet with them at these energetic ley line vortex points, because that's like just getting off the highway for a demon. Demon doesn't want to, if you watch 3,000 Years of Longing, right? Idris Elba, he doesn't like being his demon, his jinn. He doesn't like being in the city because the electromagnetic activity is bad for him, right? So they're basically ionized entities, like their energy that is in the air, and they want to go to these places that don't have a lot of energy, so that because it just gives them more space to kind of exist. Essentially, this is why if you burn sage, it deionizes the air and kind of annoys them and scares them off. That's why you want to get rid of a demon. You burn some sage, you say a few prayers, you open up some windows, and you basically say, "Demon, get the fuck out of here." And eventually they're like, "Fine, I'll go find somebody else to, you know."
What do you think demons are?
They're dead Nephilim. It's simple as that. So they
shit, we're in it.
Yeah, so you have a Nephilim. It dies. Its soul is too heavy to go up to heaven. Enlightenment, lighter. Heaven, it's up, right? You float. Electromagnetic, you know, dielectric buoyancy, right? Things float around in this big electromagnetic soup that we're in, and they can't get up there, but they kind of have nowhere else to go. So they kind of just are around, you know, holes in caves, like Jim Morrison would say, right? They go to these points, like Burning Man. Burning Man is a electromagnetic vortex point. That's why they go out there in particular, is because when you burn your giant effigy, it's an easy place for all the demons to get to. Hard place for us to get to, easy for them to get to. That's why it's always, you're going out in the woods, you're going out of the desert, you're going out of these places that are very far away.
Hey guys, real quick, we want to tell you about our new sponsor, Via, the only hemp lifestyle brand. Let's tell you about Via.
Guys, you know how it can get crazy around the holiday season. If you need a break from the crowded stores and the endless gifts, restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. If you want to unwind and recharge, Via is the choice. Whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheer, Via's premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance. And balance, that's the hard thing to find around the holiday seasons. I know we know about that.
Hell yeah.
Via is well-renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies and vapes, THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops. I need a calming.
I love calming drops.
Me too.
I love the calm fly drop.
all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part about all of this is that Via legally ships to nearly all states in the United States in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card required.
So if you're 21 plus, check out Via's website link in our descriptions and use the promo code VIA tinfoil hat to get 15% off. Okay, it's just that simple. The holiday season is here. Give yourself some peace of mind. If you're 21 and over, 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our descriptions and use the code VIA VIIA tinfoil hat to receive 15% off. After your purchase, they ask you where you heard from it. Say you heard about them from us. That's right. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. The holiday season, enhance your everyday with Via. Yeah, I think that's why you don't see a lot of cryptids in the big city, except for the owl man who just don't give a fuck. He'll just hang and bang in Chicago. He's like, I got cat, right? And it's interesting. Yeah, I'm into all that. I mean, symbolism is everything. I was just on Fire and the Kid, and they lost. They were like, yeah, you lost us, dude, on the mysticism stuff. But I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, bro, it's all mysticism. They're manipulating energies on so many levels.
Why? Why is the important question, right? And I think I know why.
Why?
Basically, we're so powerful that when we imagine something, that creates what's known as a skeptomorph in the astral realm. And basically, that skeptomorph can also create like an egregore skeptomorph, kind of similar. And basically, that helps determine what goes on here, because everything here is a projection of up there. So if you get people to believe something bad and then they imagine it, right? Let's say they watch, like, I don't know, CSI or something, right? All the fucking programming that you see on all of the government created television networks, right? They basically are there to scare you and to make you imagine things that are bad for humanity in general, so that when you imagine them, it has kind of like a rebound effect here, and those things kind of propagate or kind of become, you'll see more of them basically because of this magical principle, because we're fundamentally magical. So this is the same when you visualize something, right? First you visualize it, and then you think about it, you write it on a wall, you pray to God, please let this happen, blah, blah, blah. Then it happens, right? That's the same fundamental principle. So we're actually more powerful than they are, but we don't know that. We're more powerful ultimately. So they basically want us to do that, and the only way to fight back is to kind of like ignore that. So my mantra is to just not look at them, to not pay attention. And it's basically from my favorite Simpsons episode, which is Treehouse of Horror in season 5, where basically when all the monsters are attacking the city, they're like, just don't look, and it's that little Paul Anka kind of thing. Because if you ignore them, they pretty much don't get to do their magic spells on you.
You know what's interesting about that? That is my opinion on internet trolls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll feed the trolls. Yeah.
If you don't feed them, they just get bored and move on, and you just ignore. I used to ban them, block them, and then I'm like, oh, they love that, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna restrict them or mute them, and then I'm like, why even give them anything? Like, if they get zero interaction, they all move on. It's boring to them. Now, sometimes if it's just forever, I'll still mute them.
I was about to say, you've had annoying ones that just don't stop. They're relentless, and you're like, dude, you have nothing better to do. I've ignored this comment.
They don't know that you mute them, though, right? That's not something that they can.
No, they can't. They don't know.
They just get tired. But it's funny because I on Twitter, it like shows you all the people adding you, and it was literally like 8 accounts adding me. One was real. The rest were all like they didn't have profile pics.
What do you mean? I was just like following you?
Yeah, follow me. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, bots incoming. Bots are incoming. Yeah. And it gets back to what you're talking about. Like the astroturfing. We were having a discuss. Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to somebody about how, I was on Fire and the Kid. Yeah. And we were having this conversation about how cancel culture was astroturfed by corporations to make you fear a small group of people. They wanted you to believe that these Antifa shit libs that were a very powerful group of people. So what would happen was this system was set up on Twitter where, someone would say something and then these bots would sense what they said and retweet it. So it sounds like it's catching fire. And then the corporations would come and be like, oh, we got to cancel you. It's bad. And then they would, before there was an actual discussion. So it gave the illusion of cancel culture when in reality, it was just corporations trying to convince you that if you step out of line, you'll get canceled and lose your living. Well, once they tried to get rid of Joe Rogan, nothing happened. And then you just saw people, even on a smaller level, people in our community, the conspiracy community, saying whatever the fuck they want to say, not getting canceled. It killed it off. And once cancel culture started costing corporations, where if you canceled somebody, people would stop going to your business, then it was really done, which truly showed you how just complete and bullshit the whole thing was. It was a giant magic trick. It was mysticism. It was energy manipulation. And it's still, you see with the young kids, they're very scared of cancel culture. I'm like, it just doesn't exist. I'm not saying that someone can't get in trouble. I'm just saying the notion of people losing everything isn't what it was before, because it was
what
never
they make
real.
you, what they lord in front of you that you're going to lose is actually something they put in there in the first place that you don't need. So I'll give you an example: health insurance. I don't go to the doctor. I don't go to the dentist anymore. I don't get sick anymore. Why would I ever do any of those things? They're all kind of stupid in retrospect. But they say you're not going to be able to see your doctor. You're not going to be able to get your medicine. You're not going to be able to get all these things that we convince you need in the first place, right? So once you kind of learn that, and same thing, you're not going to be able to get on Twitter. You're not going to be able to get on the social media that you probably shouldn't be on anyway, and is actually kind of bullshit, and go to a fucking farmer's market and talk to a person like a normal human being, right? Yeah. That's kind of the way that I look at it.
I mean, one of the people that got canceled that to me it proved that it wasn't really real was Louis C.K. Louis C.K. When he got canceled for jerking off, he still was running his shows. He bought his own series. He released it on his website, and I found out he was fucking killing it. Doing shows. He went when he pulled up to Skankfest. It was crazy when he pulled up to Skankfest.
But he had disappeared for a while, right? Before
he did disappear, but he came in hot. He literally disappeared, and then he bought his own series, released it on his website. You can buy it now. I mean, and his specials are only released on his website, and I pay for him. I'm a fan of his, and now
me too. Yeah,
can't cancel him. You can't cancel him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when they keep getting rid of talent like Louis C.K., and obviously, I have daughters. I don't want guys doing that. I think he paid a giant price for it. So in that sense, but at the end of the day, it's like even with Chris D'Elia, it's like people are like mad because he's playing theaters and he's selling them out. Yeah. And people are like, oh, dude, what kind of canceling is that? Well, you're talking about two guys that were the face of Netflix comedy.
Yeah. I mean, they lost something.
They lost the ability to work with the industry. But it's so interesting that this one chick out of New York City, she's really good. She just was on Rogan. She is she just did a special that was directed by Louis C.K. and produced by Ari Shaffir, two comics that for the longest time haven't been allowed on Netflix, which is is this Netflix going, hey, we're going to kind of let these guys back. We kind of need them because Hulu and Amazon now are producing so many specials. Maybe they need to have these guys back, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. Louis C.K. I wouldn't say he was a nice guy before he got canceled. He was an interesting guy, and maybe like I always say it's about Chris D'Elia. When he got canceled, it kind of probably helped him, extend his career in a weird way, because he actually had to change how he operated. He was like this guy who was growing older, still doing pop comedy. Like, what's up with girls? The girls do that. Girls are crazy, right? You ever see? And you're like, dude, you're almost 40. You're still doing that comedy.
His fan base was called babies. Oh, my babies. It was not a good look at that. Yeah, you're right.
It changes it. And now he's doing comedy that's more age appropriate for him, about his kids and all that stuff. And it forced him to look more inward. I saw Chris the other day at the Laugh Factory. His wife is absolutely stunning. He has a stunning wife. Her face is so symmetrical. It's unbelievable. And Dude, I think in the long run it's gonna last longer because the industry that canceled him is dying. It's not totally dead. You know, if you got a show on Netflix, I'm sure you would do really well. But it's slowing down, dude. It's not the kingmaker it used to be. And even if you do have a show on television, does that mean you got a lot of you're famous now? It just doesn't seem like it. And at the end of the day, the rebellion won. That's how I
Yeah,
see it.
I think it's hard to keep a ruse going, right? You know, and I think they eventually fall apart. They kind of have to, right? That's kind of nature of the beast. That's why they're always changing shit. You know, there's always some new bullshit happening because people aren't jumping from one thing to another. You know, things will kind of fall apart. People see through it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, dude. It's interesting though. So let's get into you think we live in a simulation. Is that
Oh
what you
yeah.
think?
Well, it's so, you know, there's the actual fakeness of society itself, right? As a quote unquote simulation. So let's take that off the table. We know that's fake, you know, to an extent, right? So that's not what we're talking about. And then there's kind of like a matrix style simulation where, you know, you wake up and you're in a different reality, and this reality was all being run on computers and shit. I don't necessarily believe that either. What I believe is the Gnostic belief, which is basically that this is a created temporary reality called Maya that we all exist in, that has been constructed. And Terrence Howard has basically found the unified field of this reality, and how it's designed, and basically the supersymmetry between all of the elements that help create us. Basically, we're in this like bubble that has all these luminaries like shooting stuff into it, and this like drama is playing out in this bubble. And eventually, this bubble kind of collapses, just like it says in the Bible, and it separates the wheat from the chaff, and that, you know, we basically go up to heaven and out of this reality, and there's 7 heavens above us, which are demiurgic heavens, and then above that is actually reality. So we are 7 heavens away from reality right now. We are in our own little matrix. Yeah, that this reality is just like a little game that the emanation known as Sophia is playing with herself, kind of saying, should I go ahead and make life without my other emanation? And it turns out no, because it gets all fucking wonky, right? When the angels fall and start, you know, basically like these holy things that shouldn't be banging really want to bang, and then they bang, and it's like, oh no, that's not supposed to happen, and all sorts of symmetry breaks start happening, and then this process has to play itself out, and the process is basically you can encapsulate the meaning of life in Dungeons and Dragons, actually. So basically, you have humans, which are this ultimate form. It's actually the form of God, and they ultimately end up being, you know, Aragorn or the king, right? They end up being the winner or the whatever, right at the end. Then you have all these other forms: orcs and elves and goblins and gnomes and you know, and dwarves and whatever. They're the demiurgic chaff from the godlike wheat. And basically, the demiurge, which has the head of a lion and the tail of a snake, is playing a game with itself, saying, what if I try this? What if I try this? What if people are 100 feet tall? What if they're lizards? What if they're this? What if they're that? Won't they be better? Shouldn't that be the ultimate form, not this other form? And through time, it turns out that man is actually ultimately more powerful than all of them, and that divine form ends up kind of winning out, proving that Sophia shouldn't be doing what Sophia is doing, creating life without the other emanations in the Sephiroth, that are part of, you know, there's God, and then there's like Barbella or Barbello, and then Jesus Christ, and there's other emanations, and they all zigzag like the Kabbalah, right? So that's all the way up there. And then basically that zigzag down, I think number 12, which is Sophia, if I recall correctly, who then creates this basically fake demiurgic world, creates the demiurge who kind of is creating stuff, craftsman, demiurge, and then the demiurge creates both Satan and Yahweh as this false dichotomy to kind of keep us occupied and keep our minds occupied, so that the light doesn't go out of the bottle. We're the light in the bottle. The bottle is carbon, right? Carbon is has it's 6, so that the 666 and then the hexagon and all that. It's all just a symmetrical pattern that is good at trapping light and keeping it bouncing around inside of this container, basically. So that's why carbon is what all life is based on. So, and that kind of gets into alchemy and all that. But basically, yeah, we are constructed alchemically, and we are in this kind of life matrix thing, which we don't know there's more of it too. There's, you know, if you're a flat earther or whatever, there's probably 30-40% more land. Is there 100x more land, or is it more like you're going into other realms spiritually? I'm not sure. but they kind of, you can tell that they very purposely keep us locked in. They keep us in Plato's cave, right? Because of the magical principles that I mentioned earlier. Because they harvest us for our power. They're like farming us basically.
That's so interesting. So I've always said Sophia was the first feminist, right? She's the first feminist, and she fucked everything up. She creates the demiurge. The demiurge, and we talked about this recently, could possibly be the God of the first Bible.
I think the way what I read, that's Yahweh. People will call that Yahweh for lack of a better term, but that's the Old Testament God. That's the God of.
So Abraham. Yahweh is Jesus Yahweh?
No, Jesus is way above Yahweh. So
who is Yahweh?
Yahweh is basically, you have the demiurge, and the demiurge creates this God that then creates us. Yahweh is it's those 4 Hebrew letters. So
the demiurge gets its own AI that creates this whole world.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it an AI because I know like what AI actually is.
And, what is AI actually?
Just a tensor. It's just a really complicated tensor running on like a bajillion.
What is a tensor? I'm retarded.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's basically just like this big giant map of possibilities and probabilities, and information flows through the map, making choices, and ultimately it makes choices as to what to construct. So AI, this is a spiel that I gave Mark, but basically AI is like a chimera, right? So Nephilim are chimeric, and AI is chimeric, but Nephilim are not AI, right? So I think it's important to draw some of those distinctions. But Nephilim, I brought this up on his podcast, Nephilim will often have 6 fingers, reportedly. In the early days of AI.
Hold on, the Nephilim walked on what?
They had 6 fingers.
They had 6 fingers?
Yeah, some of them.
Okay.
I was involved, David Holtz is a friend of mine, he's the creator of Midjourney. So I was involved before it was even called Midjourney, very early on. And some of the earliest AI art stuff that I had borne witness to and worked with and whatever would have 6 fingers too. It was actually one of the major flaws that had to get worked out. And very, very interesting, thing compared to the Nephilim. And it's because they're chimeric. See, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find like this happy accident engineering principle to create the thing that you think looks good. And so it comes out weird every time. And it's very hard to get it to be golden ratio, like God would create beautiful, through mitosis and everything's psychedelic and a plant looks nice and all that. With AI art, you got to throw away 99 pieces of art to get one that looks any good at all. And then even do touch-up work on it, basically, because you're chimeraing everything together through this tensor that's basically combining thousands of images and through linguistics picking out which images are appropriate and basically smashing them together until they kind of look like what you want, right? And then teaching itself to know how to smash them together and know what to throw away. It's a very destructive and non-holistic creation process versus a holistic creation process where everything is some sort of variation of God, right? And even, and you can't get away from it to the point where little humans down here are like little gods, right? That's more holistic. So it's kind of, I don't know, there's the similarities there are very interesting, but I wouldn't call that, an AI per se, because I just don't think they had computer technology to do that. And I don't think they have computers that are not computers. I think that they try to make us think they have a lot when they really don't. That's one of the big tricks. So you got to keep that.
I agree with that. I think AI might be that, where they're trying to make us think it's way more powerful than it actually is.
They're pumping it up all the time, and you ask people what AI is, they don't even fucking know. It's like 5G, right? You could ask the CTO of Verizon what 5G is, and I'm not sure he'd be able to tell you, right? It's just one of those types of things.
You don't think it could advance and be dangerous though? Like right now, you're saying it's not that dangerous. It
could be. Well, everything could be dangerous. It's like, I have a friend who got out of, he got out of doing drone technology, like AI drone technology 10 years ago, because he saw what an AI automated machine gun turret could do. And it's incredible speed and ability. Like they wanted to make stuff like that to do that sort of thing to people. They could. But to be honest, they could 20 years ago. All the technology we get, not all of it, but a lot of it is like 10 to 20-year-old military tech.
Oh, know? Yeah. Dude, the new robots that Elon Musk rolled out, those are like flip phone robots compared to what they really have right now. I'm sure they have way crazier.
Well, they have crazier, but they're also incompetent, right? Which is
I mean,
called Biden.
They had
Yeah,
to
it's
have
called
humans
Biden.
operating them on the other end. Most of those, like the one that was serving at the bar, that was just somebody's voice there on the other end of it. It wasn't because AI, the latency for interacting with an AI and a robot like that would just be so extreme. They had somebody
But
else.
Look at Palmer Luckey though, right? Palmer comes from a military background. I was working with him at that lab doing U.S. Army research, and basically their headset requirements, it would cost them 10 to 20x to build any headset. It had to go through 10 different channels. It had bizarre requirements that if you didn't build to the exact spec, they wouldn't let you build it. And the exact spec was absolutely garbage. You had to change it, else it wouldn't work. So the military is constantly making solid gold toilets and all this type of shit that just doesn't go anywhere. So my point is that's we should take heart in the fact that they're incompetent, and so that they won't kill us basically.
Can I ask you before we get too far afield? Are there consequences to what humans do in this realm, or what can we? Because
question.
I don't take much heart from what you said about the nature of this reality. What are the consequences for us? What can we do that's meaningful here?
Well, I think ultimately, I hate to say ultimately no, but ultimately I think everything gets figured out in the end, one way or the other anyway. So you don't have to worry about stuff too much.
Mm-hmm.
But
the people we know here, is there any ultimate value to the relationships we form, to our to the families we have, those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all trying to make the world a better place, right? I think we're all trying to make the world a place where children aren't being bombed and, all sorts of horrible things aren't happening.
Yes.
But what I mean is there any enduring connection that you can form here, or is it all just the board gets kind of swept clean when we evolve?
No, we're all connected. So we're all one. So you already are connected. So you're trying to reconnect. Right, you're reconnecting what's already connected and was connected before and is supposed to be connected. So
I'll just tell you what I'm getting at, and then you can tell me the answer. Okay, like my family, those connections I have in my family, those distinct personalities, the constellation of characteristics that form the personalities. Is there anything enduring about those, or is it all just going to be returned to source, and it'll just be kind of like going back into the mix? In the end.
I think it's both, because I think this all happened, right? And it's the story of reality, right? And it's not a timeline among a million other timelines. No, it's the timeline. It's the only one, right? This is the story of humanity. This is when we turned the tide on the bad guys, blah blah blah, whatever. And SamTripoli and the Tinfoil Hat podcast was right there leading the charge. Whatever it is, right? That story is going to be remembered and be told. And it's not just like one story among an infinite number of them or something like that. I don't believe that at all. I think that formation of that and why Sophia learns these lessons and how the lessons are learned is actually very important. I don't know exactly how. About the familial relationships, I honestly don't know.
Okay, here's a question. Like, do you think that right now there is something that it's like to be Nate Burba? Do you think wherever you end up, when we advance past this realm, do you think there will be something that it's like to be a Nate? Are you going to have your memories of what happened here? Is there any continuity of consciousness, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think if that continuity gets lost, it comes back again. And eventually you'll know everything, right? Like everything, but so my point is, I don't think any of it gets lost. I think it all gets retained.
So I always believe if you do high vibrational things come back to you. There will always be ups and downs. Always. It doesn't matter. There's going to be ups and downs because this is the realm in which we live in.
That's what turned the other cheek, by the way. That's the whole Jesus thing, right? That's basically, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you possibly can imagine. He's talking about the Gnostic principle of that rebound effect. Exactly what you're saying.
So, but do you think that is something in this energy field we live in? If you put out high vibrational actions, high vibrational energy comes back to you. And then the opposite of that is if you do low vibrational stuff comes towards you. Do you think there is any rules like that?
100%.
Like the Hermetic principles and stuff like that. Does that resonate with real? You have a cross, which I'm assuming it makes you Christian. Do you think those are real things?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, apparently, you got some demon issues. Just bring up Jesus, right? People don't even believe in God, say Jesus Christ. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that
Um,
is crazy.
yeah, no, I think these things are. Sorry, what was the question?
The question is, if I do high vibrational stuff,
Oh
does the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
universe reward me, or is it just a computer program trying to figure out just every variable?
Yeah, I mean, I think those things will come back, right, by the principles that we've said. But here's the weird thing, right? Why are the bad guys doing bad things all the time? Because ultimately, my guess is that they don't want to be here and they understand that this is a matrix and they're just like, get me out, this shit's stupid. They're just kind of like hastening the end of things, right? But yeah, I think it speaks to the fact that it's a closed system, it's the craft, right? Watch the movie The Craft,
Yeah, yeah.
basically true. Do a bad thing, comes back a few times over on you. Do a good thing, it comes back. And it's also pay it forward is just logically sound. It just is, and you keep paying it forward enough, and all of a sudden you get compounding things that don't need to be spiritual at all. It's just to help people in your community. Eventually, people help you.
Do
That's
you
kind
think
of
the
rad.
evildoers you mentioned earlier are they aware of that? Or are they actually playing the system consciously, or is that just something innate that they kind of recognize and but maybe not consciously?
They're so savvy. They understand. They're doing all of these rituals and stuff all the time, right?
Uh,
I have to think they understand what they do and what those rituals, what the outcome of those rituals would be. And if you think about it, right, what's the outcome of a horrible ritual? Karmically, there's probably shit's going to come back on them pretty fucking hard if you really think about it. And so I think that's what they want. Honest, that's why they drop hints everywhere. Besides doing tests, you have to, if you're brainwashing everyone, you have to test your brainwashing by showing them something and seeing if they see it and going like, is he there? Is he there? Okay, he's not there. Right. So they definitely drop hints for that reason. But I think ultimately, the word apocalypse meaning revealing, right? I think ultimately they're rocking the boat really hard because they think they got a bum rap being second fiddle to us. And so they're just kind of like
Interesting.
rocking the boat. Like, we don't want to be here and we know this will just end everything. So let's do it even more so. And I'm like, why do they have to be such assholes about it? It can't just be nice. But yeah, apparently that's their prerogative, right? So because they're systematically abusing and killing and torturing people, right? It's and everything says that they know what that would do, at the highest levels for sure.
Are they worshiping dark entities? Like, where does things like Moloch and Baal and Kronos fit into your theories?
Yeah. So Kronos is an interesting one. So Kronos eats his kid, right? So Kronos is Saturn. Saturn is Jupiter. So if you understand, I'm sorry, his kid is Jupiter. So if you understand the layers of reality, basically those are the heavens. Actually, Saturn is the last heaven, and it's a layer like this. And then the next heaven, Jupiter, is here. So my point is, Saturn is eating Jupiter, right? Because it's literally eating it. That is an allegorical description of reality, basically, right? So sorry, you said Saturn. What was the other one? Kronos and
Kronos, Baal,
Paul
Moloch.
and Moloch. Yeah, I have to look up. I know they're constellations, I think, or Moloch might actually be identifiable in the stars, if I recall
Do
correctly.
you believe in space?
I'm gonna say no comment on that one. For a variety of reasons.
Why? Because you don't want your computer nerds friends to know, so you don't want to be shunned.
Yeah, I mean that's the big one that everybody gets real weird about, because they've been watching. I watched Apollo 13 when I was, a kid,
Right,
and
right.
we've been immersed in this stuff so much for so long that to take away one of these fundamental beliefs that people have from when they're 2 or 3 is very jarring. But no, I mean, it seems like it's cosmic water is what the ancient philosophers would say. Why is the sky blue? It's fucking water up there, right? And nitrogen,
You can
I
put it
guess.
in a
Damn,
jar. You can put it in
damn.
a jar, I'd say.
So it's interesting to me because there's part of me that, if you bring up the tree of life from the Kabbalah, everyone calls it satanic. And I don't know if I'm not an expert enough to say whether it is or it is not.
Yeah, there's I follow this crazy guy on Facebook. I have a lot of crazy people. I read all the crazy stuff, right? Because I gotta know, right? And so this absolutely crazy Bulgarian guy, he believes, and a number of people believe that there's one tree that's the satanic inverted one, and there's one that's like the regular one, if that makes sense. So
I think we could be living in that tree.
the inverted one.
No, the real one, the good one, where it's
So the
like
good one,
this
it's a
is the
pattern.
bottom bubble. We live in the bottom bubble. And then there's just bang, 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 all the way top. I think that's possible. That resonates with me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, or
So the
I'm saying
Kabbalah, it's like a zigzagging pattern, right? It's like crown, and then it goes like this, right? It's like right, some
it's the
shit.
one that's kind of like the dot, the top, bang, and then I think it goes bang, bang, but in between it's like bang, bang. I think
Yeah.
a
So
lot of
that
bangs.
like it's banging all over the place. That pattern is in everything. It's in absolutely everything. So that pattern is a fractal pattern that cannot not be in everything. In life in particular. Sorry, not everything. Like I don't know if it's in like rote matter, but it is in the earth, it is in Gaia, and it is in human beings as well. And if you want to make life at all, you have to embrace that. That's the power of God. It's so strong that it's like a force that you just have to roll with, right? Chakras are the same thing. Everything is, apparently God must have chakras because we do, it's like because we are a form of God, right? We're like little mini gods is the way it seems to be.
I had on my premium content Ben Bumgarter, and we're gonna get him on the main show. I'm working on it right now. He had a really great premium content. We did it only conspiracies, and it was really good. And he was talking about the Tower of Babel and how when God spread everybody all over the world, he and gave them different languages. He also gave them their own gods, like their own pagan gods, right? And so the question becomes to me, uh, do you think like all these things are fallen angels, pagan gods, like Hinduism, Buddhism,
Well, I mean,
uh, all
Yahweh
that
is
stuff?
too, right? So Yahweh did that because Yahweh is trying to keep the lightning in the bottle. So to do that, you got to spread the lightning out. You can't have too many smart people in one place, all working together, all speaking the same language, all figuring shit out. Spread them out, change all their languages, and then in terms of gods that they worship, well, that's just real Nephilim. So I mean, based on the stuff that I've read, Hercules is Nimrod, right? And then these guys were real. They were very real as you and me, and they were real 4,000 years ago, and they might come back. That's kind of the Greek gods. Like that's kind of a big
Are the
realization.
Greek gods fallen angels?
Yes, 100%. And
Bam, bro.
Damn.
yeah,
I've
and
been
there's
saying
so there's
that.
Nereus, which is Noah, which is diametrically opposed. We're all sons of Noah, but we probably have Nephilim DNA inside of us as well. If you have blue eyes, you're probably at least you got some amount of Nephilim in there. Because this is why, by the way, it's white people. White people are the problem. Because the Nephilim were white. They were they were like translucent.
Is
They
that
look like
some
giant
Bach Saga shit
giant.
right there? Bach
Yeah.
Saga?
I don't know what's Bach Saga. I'm not familiar with that.
Bach Saga is this idea that there were like a higher form of people. Johnny, will you look up Bach Saga and the Wikipedia
Yeah,
and read it
yeah.
to
It's
him?
it's Eeyore Bach. It's that guy Eeyore Bach who wrote about. Yeah, he was like a mythologist, I guess you would say, and he wrote a.
Yeah. Right now, there's an internet fight going on between some people about some homoerotic stuff with Bach Saga. Some people aren't excited about all the gayness. Some people are like saying it's a ritual. We'll see. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
believe,
he was a guy who was famously like wrote about autofellatio. So and as part of this, so.
and dude, if you can do it, you'll write about it. That's what I say. But the point is that I think Game of Thrones is an inversion of the Bach Saga. That the White Walkers weren't necessarily the evil ones, but it's interesting to me. Johnny, have you found it? I'm just
Well, I mean,
vamping.
I can tell you what it's like an oral tradition presented by Eeyore Bach, claiming to, and this is from ChatGPT directly now, claiming to recount the history of humanity from its origins. According to the saga, the first humans, called Frey and Freya, originated in the region called Odenma, located in present-day Finland. The narrative describes a pre-Ice Age civilization and a complex linguistic system, suggesting that many modern languages and cultures stem from this ancient source. The saga also delves into themes of mythology, etymology, and human evolution, offering an alternative perspective on historical development.
All right, can I talk about 69ing for a second?
Like the act of
I would never
69ing?
stop
I'm reading the
anyone from doing
Wikipedia page on this guy, and yeah, you don't have to go far to get to 69ing.
Yeah, it's autofellatio too is there.
I guess my point here is that, like, okay, Santos Bonacci talks about this, talks about injaculating, right? You don't injaculate by 69ing, right? Because you ejaculate in the other person's mouth, which is wasting the semen. So if he says to do that, that's not him. So what happens with these people is they get co-opted by the bad guys. And then the bad guys put the propaganda into their shit to kind of like mess it up. So my point is, if he's telling you not to jerk off, legit. He's telling you to 69, not legit.
What about autofellatio, where you're, the serpent eating itself? That's that.
What's going in your stomach? That's your stomach's full of sulfuric acid, right? I mean, I don't think semen is also known as baby
closed
Jesus,
system,
right?
Known as what?
Baby Jesus, yeah. So
semen's known as baby Jesus.
Sure, when it's in your body. It's because baby Jesus starts in Bethlehem. You get this. Sorry, it's actually the seed you get in your solar plexus, baby Jesus, and then the milk and honey is what is in your spinal fluid, and then if you waste it is when you ejaculate. But if you don't waste baby Jesus, then he basically turns you into like Goku or something. That's Kundalini in a nutshell, right? And Jesus is a
so
metaphor.
Crazy. So crazy. Everything's so okay. So let's get into it, buddy. Jesus, real, not real.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, look, I have a cross around my neck. I pray to Jesus Christ. I believe Jesus is above everything except for God, basically, right?
Me too. We're talking the same language.
Yeah. The question really is the guy that's in everybody's brain, did he really exist? And did he do the things he was purported to do and say the things he's purported to say and all of that sort of thing, right? And my point here is that modern religion, Jesus Christ was on the cover of Time magazine, right? Who runs recently? It was literally at the store the other day, right? Who runs Time magazine? The devil, right? So why is the devil telling you about Jesus Christ? Because what they want to do is make you sin. Pray to Jesus and say, Jesus, take all my sins away, and then you go and you sin over here and you 69 and you auto ejaculate or whatever, right? That's actually how you get to heaven, is by not sinning. So they want you to sin and then just say if you ask nicely, you'll get in, right? That's the ruse. And so Catholics with their, they'll basically repent and they talk to the Father or whatever. None of that shit's actually doing anything for you in terms of getting into heaven.
So if you sin, you're done.
No, not at all. You need to purify your body, and you need to not, have sex or jerk off or whatever. And you pretty much, as far as I can tell, you just like I said, chain yourself to a bed for a month and you'll pretty much get in there. It's not
so nobody's going to heaven. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. I think a ton of people are going to heaven. I think a bunch of chicks too. I think there's a lot of women out there who figured this out and they don't really tell anyone. They didn't figure it out. It's more just what they do. They're natural living people. They're not, they live their lives. They garden. They're not mad at anybody. Those people will just go right. They'll just, it's not go right to heaven. It's enlightenment. Okay. So I'm still learning, but when you die, you have your soul, and your soul, according to something I just read, which I don't know, resonated. So who knows if it's true or not, but basically,
I
it
do
goes
that too, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's discernment, right? But that's what's great. This whole thing is just like, use your gut. I love it. But basically your soul is like some sort of form of water or something, and it goes into the cosmic waters. And basically if it's light enough, it'll start floating up. But there is a gauntlet of things that you have to get through before you can even get to heaven, number one. And you have to go through all the heavens, right? So the gauntlet of things starts with the white light. Do you see the white light and grandma's talking to you, right? That ain't grandma. That is, the demon control operator 787 who's, managing your account or whatever, right? It's your account. That's your account services coordinator, right? My point is they're trying to get you to go back into samsara. Yeah, exactly. Don't go into the light is what I'm trying to say. You have to ignore the light. They know. And according to what I've heard, you say, I want to go home, and you turn around, actually. You go the other way, and you'll see like a lattice of dimmer lights, and you have to start kind of traveling around. And then it's like, what?
Hold on. So I just got to figure it out from there?
This is like Enter the Void. It's just crazy.
No, I'm
which light? And I'm just swimming forever?
Well, it's like Persephone, right? So you can't look back. So you have to, whatever your focus is on is where you'll go. And you have that focus and intention is very, very important. And so your focus and intention should be going up And when I say up, I literally mean up too. We're still in physical reality here. This is why people say they see their bodies, right, in the after body experience, right? So what you need to do is ignore that white light, ignore the the fake ancestor spirit. When people think they're contacting ancestor spirits, they're not. Apparently, they're contacting some Loki type entities.
How can you tell though? I mean, is there any way to discern in that moment what you're? Is there a truth test?
I don't know.
Can we have code words? Can I give my grandma? Oh, she's dead. Well, I have a living grandmother. Can I give my living grandmother a code word?
I probably, but the thing is, it's in your head too. So I don't
grandma
know.
code word.
But let me tell you, how does demonic possession work? Right, it's similar to a man in the middle attack in network engineering.
Yeah.
Right, so they calcify your pineal gland, and then you try to talk to God. Nobody's home because your radio doesn't work. And then a local source comes in and be like, "Oh, I'm God, bro. No, you should do this." Right. So my point is, I think they're using a similar interface with the hypothalamus to basically jack in and say, "No, I'm your grandma." So they kind of know what you know, right? It's to some degree, I think, because how they know your grandma, how they can do that anyway. So I think that.
So now, if I keep going up, is my grandma there, or do I just grandma's just gone? I never.
That's the thing. We're in this new realm where all sorts of fucking crazy shit are happening. I mean, so you're going to have entities who mimic certain things and act certain ways, and
But I thought I was meant to be as a human, have some power in this. Why would I not be able to kind of?
Because you don't know that you have that power, or you don't know how to tap into it.
Interesting. But there's
I want to see my grandma. I want to see grandma.
Everybody wants to see your grandma, Johnny. Everybody.
Maybe grandma's up there somewhere. I don't know. I just don't think she's at the door.
How do you know grandma's there? My grandma might have been a sinner, Johnny. You never know.
Well, yeah, but I don't think in this model is there even hell. It's just really just returning back to Maya, right?
There's no hell, Johnny.
I don't think that's necessarily true. No, in fact, in old maps, you'll see multiple realms. They look like balls on a tree, and one of them is hell with a single L, right? I don't know what that is. There might be a realm that's literally called that. I don't know, honestly.
Oh my God, it's so crazy.
It's not eternal. If there is a hell, it's definitely not eternal. And once again, these are real physical places. So what that means is that they have barriers. If you look at the Emerald Tablets of Thoth or Thoth, which I translated the power words to, you can see.
What do you mean you translate the power words to?
So there's magic spells in the tablets that they don't translate. They say these words, and these words will allow you to cross over outside of the barrier of the matrix. They say it'll, all sorts of different words will unlock certain things. One of them will let you go through the sun. You can go through the fucking sun by telling some angels that are guarding the threshold these words. But I wanted to know what they meant. I'm not gonna say some shit I don't know what it means, right? But I don't know Aramaic, so I don't know. I was able to cobble together some translations, and they literally talk about the Nephilim. Like the translated, like one of them is like, "I'm the son of Adam who cannot be eaten," right? Sabert Zur, right? Sabert being like teeth. Basically, you're saying my soul cannot be digested, and I figured out your ruse that Edom has been harvesting Adam, right? Which is it's like literally what the line says. So because I figured this shit out, let me through. Zin Uru. I aspire to expand, to go further. Zin Uru. And basically they open up their fucking thing and like, fine, we'll let you go through the sun, which is what is it? They call it the Dark Arulu. It's basically like a thing that stops your advancement. So apparently the sun is a portal, and you're able to go through it. That
sounds very lonely. I have to say, this all just sounds very lonely. Just like
Johnny, it's not happening over years. I think this happens quickly.
No, but I'm just saying, just being out in space or wherever the hell and just floating around trying and then telling.
And I gotta say this stuff to these guys, do a tomb to tomb, and then I get it. I mean, that's crazy. But nobody knows any of that, so no one's leaving. Yeah, it's like my argument with people. It's like, well, how if everyone has to know about Jesus to get out of here?
Yeah.
What about those tribes in the middle of nowhere?
What about Tommy? What about Tommy from the Who album, right? It's a song. It's in the song. How does he know? How did he get into heaven if he can't see or, if he's deaf, dumb, and blind, or dumb, blind, or whatever?
It's interesting to me. The whole thing is interesting, and it's just I don't know, man. I maybe we're trying to solve a math problem that our human minds can't solve.
I don't know if I.
This whole time I thought it was like purgatory. I really thought I was going to be in line, just chilling, waiting. to
It's
go up
so
there.
crazy. So going back to you think Jesus was real, but not the guy that was here?
No, I don't think there was actually a specific guy. I think there's been a lot of people. It's once again kind of taking a page from Santos Bonacci. There's many Jesus Christ throughout human history, probably, but the idea that it's like one specific person is actually a fiction created to get people to worship that person, not the
When
actual.
you, I'm sorry, just really to clarify, are you saying they're incarnations of the same entity? Is that what you're saying?
Are you
No,
believing in star seeds? Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm not actually. I'm saying that people haven't been named Jesus Christ and maybe thought that they were.
Literally named that. Okay.
Yeah, but I got Jesus, down the street, right? I mean, we're in LA. There's plenty of them, I'm sure. But my point is, it's what is it? There's a lot of suspicion around that particular story. It was all written 100 years after the fact, and you have Caesar's Messiah and all of those types of things. So I'm kind of analyzing, and you have Caesar Borgia, right? Who basically took his face and made that the Christ, the face of Christ that we all know today. That white guy.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So if he did exist, he didn't look like that, right?
Yeah, that's. I mean, is that relevant though? Really, what he looked like? I don't think that matters, right?
Well, but my point is, they're falsifying stuff, right? This is kind of what they do, and so basically.
But is that to get you off the track?
But it's an allegory. This is I think the more important part, the allegory, right? So the 12 apostles are allegorical for the 12 signs of the zodiac. There's the River Jordan is your spine. Bethlehem is in the solar plexus where the seed comes in.
But you're saying none of that's real?
What I'm saying is that it's an allegorical story that was told historically because people didn't have writing or other instruments, especially to explain complex phenomena, right? Like it's literally the most important story in human history, right? Because it's a way that our physiology has been encoded into a story so that we remember it, so that we do that and actually ascend to heaven. And they took that ancient story and they started kind of modifying it, adding stuff to it. Then they turned it into history, right? They said, well, this actually happened and it happened exactly like this. And all you have to do is ask them. Don't worry about not sinning or reading into the detailed esoteric meaning of the story. Just look at the face value of the allegory and nothing else. And that's all we teach. That's why if you bring this stuff up in church, they look at you weird because you're not supposed to know this stuff. You're just supposed to do it by the book, surface level, King James, that sort of thing.
There are early sources, though. I mean, not in the Bible, but that have Jesus as someone who existed, like within 20, 30 years of his death.
Yeah, well, he was a carpenter, right? Well, it turned out he wasn't a carpenter. That's just bad translation. He was a mason. He was a Freemason. He was the mason of the
really, dude?
That's what I've heard. Yeah. That makes a little more sense than being like a guy who built some shit. Right.
And even the Jewish historians, account for a guy named Jesus. I don't doubt because there are too many historians that agree that someone by that name existed at that time that I don't doubt someone by that name went around and was a radical Jewish mystic, let's say.
I mean, we don't know who built 30th Street Station. I'm from Philadelphia, right? We don't know who built 30th Street Station. So from my perspective, everything is on the table, right? In terms of history.
Right. But I mean, until we had the Dead Sea Scrolls, you would never have thought that those traditions had been preserved as well as they had either, I would assume, right?
You mean in terms of the
how precisely, how accurately they have been transitioned from generation to generation, from generation to generation. The Bible, the Old Testament I'm talking about here, with the Dead Sea Scrolls. But I mean, that took it back much farther than we ever had imagined, and the verses had been, essentially unchanged over thousands of years. So
my mind is open too. I'm open to the possibility of being a real person too. It's just kind of
the reason I kind of stick on this is because the professor I had in college, this guy Bart Ehrman, is kind of the leading Jesus historian. Now he's not a believer, but he presents. I suggest you read some of his stuff. He presents a compelling case for the historical Jesus.
He's not a believer of.
He's not a Christian. Is what I mean by that.
He knows about the history of Jesus. He's not a Christian.
No, he was. He started out. He went to Moody Bible College. He's one of these types, and then more transitioned into. He's one of those people that thinks that it's a perversion of. I mean, it's really, we'd have to sit here an hour to explain what the guy believes, but it's interesting to check out. Just he presents like a textual, historical kind of account of who that would have been, and a case for him existing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think it makes sense. And I'm not saying he couldn't necessarily have existed, but I'm so skeptical of history in general. I mean, do we lose 1,000 years? Is it a J or a one? Right? I mean, you got
Yeah, that's something. Huh?
stuff. Like, so I'm kind of like, if there's a vested interest in a certain narrative talking about whether something happened 2,000 years ago or not, when we don't even know what year it is, I'm like, I'm skeptical of all this shit, right? Because it just gets, hard. I don't know. Once again, if you don't know, I'll put it this way: all the beautiful buildings in the entire country have falsified construction stories, right? So we're in some weird fucking shit right now, where this society was only constructed like they literally abducted people. They took their children, they put all the people in insane asylums, and then they put all the kids in orphanages to create the society in this particular place, right? Which I think is their old home. And when it went like we're west of Atlantis, right? If Atlantis is the Atlantic, we're basically in, a place that I think they used to inhabit. And in fact, they think based on a lot of stuff I've heard about on this podcast, that they've constructed, you have the Fountain of Youth in Florida, right? And all of the construction that must have gone into everything that's there, right? Yeah. There's clearly a lot of construction that's gone into where we are that we don't fully understand at all.
How long ago do you think that those things were? I mean, like the history of this country, for instance, you have some people who think it goes back 100 years and no more. What do you think of that?
I think those buildings are all probably thousands of years old, maybe more than 4,000. They might have been here a long time ago. There's definitely mud floods that have gone on. It's just a question of when all those events have occurred. But I don't know. Something tells me that I'm looking at it through the Kali Yuga, right? And then kind of where events in history have happened according to the Kali Yuga, the Yuga cycles, right? Yeah. And the fact that we're at the end of the Kali Yuga. So I try to like position all my events in rewriting history in there somewhere. And it's a question of when were these buildings created? And these buildings, let me hit you with a few things here. So all these ornate Tartarian buildings, right? Let's fucking go to Tartaria. I didn't put on the list. Fuck it. Tartaria is honestly so important. All the statues that you see apparently were made through some sort of construction process where they used like actual people, and they posed them and like put something over them and put some materials on top of that. That's why, because they're all immaculate. They're all ornate. They're all perfect, right? You have construction that we could never do in a million years as human beings. And these things, they look like they're designed by angels or something, right? So they clearly were at some time in the past when the gods were still here, as far as I'm concerned. And my guess is the gods don't like the Kali Yuga. They don't like the worst, because their power comes from on high as well. So, if you're moving further away from the godhead, all the gods probably fly up, right? They probably leave and they probably go to the first heaven, or they go somewhere. If you read the Apocrypha of Abraham, they literally take Abraham up there and they're like showing him all that shit. And they're like, you can look at the world from here, and we're in the first heaven, and we're doing this, that, and the other thing. So my point is, my guess is the gods left and then they're going to come back. But we basically have their offspring DNA here that's been diluted and diluted and diluted over years. And they still maintain it through all of the ancient kings. If you read like Preacher, for example, the comic, I don't know if you guys have read that, the graphic novel. Basically they talk about how all the kings through history are like these weird, like pedophile inbreeding white people with no chins. And like, there's this kind of weird thing. It's because they're inbreeding to maintain the Nephilim DNA, right? Because that DNA lets them interface properly with demons. And if you don't have Rh negative DNA or Rh negative blood, you can't actually properly be possessed to interface correctly. So they're maintaining all of these firstborn sons of all the elite bloodlines, throughout the world. Well, why are they doing that over time? Why is it so critical that they stay in power? And where the fuck are they? If they're so powerful, right? I know a lot of them are dead and they're demons and everything, but like, why? Where's Nimrod's son or something, right? Like if Semiramis and Nimrod and all those ISIS, right? They're all in our iconography for everything in the whole fucking country, right? Then why are they not here, right? Where's their house? Why isn't their house in order? So either they're all dead and just demons now, and they're mad and they're just running the place, or they're going to come back. That's kind of the two ways that I look at everything. So anyway.
Sam, you're muted.
Mike.
It's so weird when it comes to Jesus. It's just like I just go off on my instincts, and I just feel that like he was a cheat code sent down to show us how to get out of this thing,
Well,
how you treat people and how you act.
the Nephilim don't have Jesus, so they don't need to ejaculate. They can't. I think that's the big difference.
Then why are they banging our bitches, dog?
Because they're mad about that, I guess, or something. I don't know, right? But yeah, I mean, literally, Zeus turns into a bird just to go have sex, right? Like they're in heaven, or one of the heavens, and they're like, this is all right, but I really need fuck. Like I just really need.
So crazy. At the core of so much of our society is just boning. I mean, even early days, they were like, rain is God jizz. That's what they thought it was. They thought it was God jizz. Like, that's what we're told. Like, it's crazy to me. But if you go back and you study this, man, I just feel like over and over and over, there's just this reset going on where it's like something gets too powerful or too out of control, reset, build it back up, reset, build it back up, reset. And it's just crazy to me. I don't know if we're ever meant to find out. And if we get too close to finding out, it's like your kids, right? You have this kind of thing set up so your kids can't crawl over the tiny fence you put so they can't leave their bedroom or whatever, right? And then suddenly they figure out how to crawl over the bed over the fence. Well, you can't use it anymore, so you got to reset that and figure out another way to keep them from leaving their room when you're trying to get them to go to bed, whatever that is, whatever.
I'm going through the exact same thing right now, actually.
You have kids?
2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Oh yeah, I got 2 4-year-olds, man, and they start figuring stuff out, but it gets easier. I mean, dude, now they're 4.5, and I've seen this quantum jump in how to deal with them. It gets better. If you have young kids, it gets better. Around 4.5, they start like chilling. Like they used to just bang out all-nighters, dude. Like it was just like Coke Fest parties. I'm like, go to bed. You're 3. Go to bed. And then now lately they've been going to sleep a lot earlier. It's a lot better, dude. I mean, it just takes time, dude. It takes time. But interesting conversation, Nate. I enjoyed it. I love these conversations, which we talk about a whole bunch of different topics. Just religion's interesting. I'm not really into organized religion. I just love Jesus. I love everything. Like when I actually hear the words of the Bible, it inspires me. Whatever anybody wants to think, I can't control that. I try to have conversations on here. This was a fun conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. And man, it was a good time. Why don't you tell them one more time where they can find you?
Yeah, you can check out my company, refactorgames.com. We make Football Simulator, a number of other great video games. And that's about it.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. Dude, I can't wait to the day where I can go and I can play like Game 7 of the Chicago Bulls versus whoever, and I could be on the court with Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and all that.
I think you can almost do that in the 2K games, but yeah, we'll see. Once we, we're sinking our fangs into the game industry here, especially the sports game industry. So
I think it's gonna be great, but it's like also like you can put on your goggles and start doing karate, dude. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I want to make a game that's just comedians beating the shit out of each other.
Okay,
right?
Let's go.
And literally, we don't even need to do any work. We can mine the podcast for audio, right? And when you say "oh fuck" or something like that, that'll literally be what you say when you get punched in the face, right?
Okay. Are we allowed to pick our skills?
Sure, of course.
All right, I'm in. Let's do it. I'm done. Let's have it. Let's go. I'll make it happen. I'll work with you on it.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, this was a great conversation. Thanks for coming on, Nate. We enjoyed it a lot, and let's break down this episode. All right, let's get into a real crazy episode. One of the favorite types of episodes where we go big on everything. What did you guys think of my man Nate Burba? What'd you guys think?
I don't know what's real. Donald Trump, Jesus. Did Donald Trump die?
That was crazy. That was
Trump
crazy.
Dead? I don't know.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Did he die? Do you guys think they do that? Do you guys?
1989.
I mean, where have we heard this before? Where have we heard this before? Johnny's favorite band, the Beatles. People think that they replaced him. I mean, Johnny, we're just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but think about it. Okay, so they would have had to have found someone who looked just like him, who was left-handed, and who was just as good a songwriter and musician. I mean, if they did replace him, they did a hell of a job. They brought they brought in a real ringer.
So Johnny, you're saying clones. Is that what you're saying? You're saying clones.
Yeah, it would have to be an aged up clone in the 60s.
Johnny's getting in the clone business.
It's certainly possible. It's more likely that Paul McCartney had a moped accident, which we know, and damaged his lip a little bit. So people were like, "Ooh, he had plastic surgery." But you want to see his lip after the moped accident? Check out the Rain video. You can see it. His tooth is chipped and his lips all jacked up. That's when it happened.
Johnny loves looking at men's lips. It's his favorite thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't? I spent half my life looking at men's.
You know, he was an interesting guest, Christian, but questioning.
Do you call that a Christian? I don't know. What do you call that?
I don't know. That's a great question.
No, wait up. In his defense, he said that the Jesus we're thinking of isn't what he thinks existed. At least that's kind of what I got. What does
Christian even mean? I mean, Christian means you a follower of that
follower faith, of Christ.
Right? Or a follower of that faith, which has some tenets set out, which the Bible, the New Testament specifically, has a lot to do with. And I don't think he thinks that's more allegory, right? So I don't know. Yeah,
there's some people. I mean, we've had guests on who talked about that.
I mean, he had a cross on. It's funny because that's how he said. He's like, "Look, guys, I have a cross on, so like I am."
Super interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
I loved it though. No, fantastic show.
That was a great episode.
We've had Juan Tuan on and talking about how Jesus was a homunculus. So we've had some people say stuff. But we love the Jesus here. We love Jesus. He is our savior. Thank you, Lord, so freaking much.
Dude, I could see you being in a Christian band. I could see Sam.
I would, dude. If I could sing, I'd totally sing about the Lord, dude. I would rock. Johnny, you could be on drums.
Billy Corgan has this great. I think it's Billy Corgan has this great quote about. He talks about how he sees himself as like a member of a Christian band, like Smashing Pumpkins, kind of Christian music. Mm-hmm. And the interviewer was like, "Why do you think most mainstream Christian music is so bad?" And he's like, "I don't know, but God deserves better music," is what he said.
I agree with him, dude. Sometimes these people are like, act like, they speak in the name of the Lord. I'm like, you're annoying. The Lord is not that annoying. Stop it. But I think it's deep. I think he got deep. Sometimes I was like, where are we right now? It's so deep.
Yeah.
So deep. So it was crazy, bro. It was a crazy episode. It was great. I love those conversations. Again, I want to thank everybody who came out to Tulsa this week. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love it. I love hanging. I love banging. I love just dropping Hammer of the Gods. Bunch of new shit. Daddy's feeling inspired, bro. I got to clean up my calcified, dog.
You excited for Florida? Florida's your state. Florida is
my state, and Tampa is the right kind of freak, okay? Daddy loves Tampa. I always say this, okay? We got LA. Vegas is blue-collar Los Angeles, okay? Tampa Bay is scumbag Vegas, okay?
You know how I know you love it, Sam? Because you're only going to be there one day. You're only going for one day.
No, if I could be there the whole weekend, I would. Tampa's one of those cities I would do for a whole 3-day thing. The guy want me out one day. I'll take it. And then the next night, I'm going to my cousin's wedding, so I'm okay with that. By the way, they all hate the Dodgers, so I'm so excited to go with my Dodgers World Series hat on. Besides that, guys, go check out SamTripoli.com. You can see me live again. I'm going to be we're going to go Tampa Bay, Cancun, Batavia, Columbus, Ohio, Pottstown, PA, Morristown, Jersey, Phoenix, Arizona. More dates to come. Daddy's running and gunning, dude.
Quiet. Don't forget quiet.
Don't forget quiet, guys. Dude, it's so crazy. It's universally getting so much love. It's really crazy in this internet. There's always people, pedestrian, but not as much as you normally think. I really think it's a great special. I hope you guys enjoy it. Mike Binder said it was one of the best comic specials to come out this year, so I appreciate him for saying that. He's a good friend of mine. Go check that out. It's about to be uploaded to YouTube, so you'll have that. Go down. Again, check out my premium content, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm just hanging and banging, dog. I'm banging out so much content. I'm banging out so much content on there. I took a little time off last week because my ears were hurting, so I had to take some time off. But we're back in it to win it, and I'm putting out stuff all the time.
Ears
Dangerous.
were hurting. What do you mean, from the headphones?
That's why I had to get the headphones you gave me.
Oh, really? Are they helping?
Yes.
Oh,
but
good.
if I go too long, they start to hurt a little bit.
Wait,
I only
you mean inside the ears, or like the pressure from it, like on the outside?
inside the ears.
Oh, really? You might have them too loud. You've always asked me to turn it way up at the studio. I wonder if you have some hearing loss.
Probably, probably, Johnny. I probably have a lot. Dana says I don't know. If you're looking to get in,
you don't listen. That's a different thing. You're not listening. That's
okay, Johnny. That was just rude, guys. Listen to me. We're working. Johnny and I work with an idiot savant, heavy on the idiot. Okay, his name is Howie Dewey, and he is crushing it. Okay,
you guys are crushing it. You're at 916 right now.
Yeah, dude, we really are crushing it. The people love us, and we're thankful for that. For $20 a month, he's going to give you tips on how to invest your money in this crazy ass market. Johnny, what do you think?
I think he's absolutely killing it. This is the kind of market. Well, I think we're about to get into the kind of market too, where some volatility is afoot. So we'll have some opportunities to make some cash. But yeah, he's been doing it. He's been killing it. And if you're worried that it's just like a day trading kind of thing, it's not like that. Every year at the beginning of the year, he publishes a portfolio. Many of those are things that you would like to have in your IRAs, your retirement accounts. So it's not just options and trading. It's very, fundamentally sound investing for the long term also.
Yeah, it's great. So go check that out. Patreon.com/cash daddies. Oh, go to the t-shirts, dude. Go to the t-shirts. Go up. Where's the t-shirts? Nope. Up. Oh yeah, go there. New t-shirt out, guys. Right there.
No, it's out now.
Yes. Podcast Eskimo Brothers is out. Myself, Donald Trump. You get the date that we were on together, and you get our episodes numbers. And there it is. Podcast Eskimo Brothers. There we go. Loving it.
What would you do if Donald Trump, you saw one with him?
I would love if he was wearing this. He's like,
that would be insane.
Me and this guy, Sam, we both put up huge numbers. So go check that out. New ones going up all the time. Yeah, look at that one. That's an old school one we brought back. The King. So go check out, click on the banner. You can get my website. You can get, dude, it's all there, dude. Oh, by the way, guess what t-shirt we're bringing back, everybody? The revolution will be podcasted. What just happened with this election? The revolution was podcasted. Okay. Buy gold and silver. Rife Technologies. I'm going to call Mark right now and go put him on. Get him back on. Rife Technologies. Get your feng shui. Get your energy right. AquaCure hydrogen brown gas. You need your nitrogen. You need your hydrogen. Excuse me. Go get it. It's the best way to do it. Harley Ray. Listen, the seller made a real argument about crystals. Okay. Real crystals from the Bible. I know you all think it's pagan, but there's actually time when some of that's in there. Go to Harley Ray, click on that, use the promo code SWARM15. Get that money, honey. Okay. Get that. I love them. They're wonderful people. Chemical Free Body. I'm working on making my own supplements at a low price. That's my goal for you guys. I'm working on it right now. So you can click that. Go to Chemical Free Body. My boy Joel Staley, get into that. EMF Rocks. When you need Verde bags and you want to stop that dirty electricity, go to EMF Rocks. Use the promo code Tinfoil. Prometheus. When you want a decentralized website. And then, of course, if you love an XG's questions, you got to give it up to Brain Supreme, some next level shit.
Yep.
Just use the promo code SamTrip15 and you are good to go. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe, and then if you want to watch more of this right here, SamTripoli in a fight.
No, you do not want to watch that. Stop that, dude. I don't want to watch that.
If you want to watch the rest of it, go to XG. Mark's the spot on YouTube.
I hit my nose, XG. Fight. You suck. I hit my nose. I was bleeding my own blood.
Go watch it.
See? How did you get up so high? Where are you in there?
There's like two stories. I was at the top. I had good view of Sam. He got good ankle locks though. I saw him. His legs were heavy though. His legs were heavy at the moment.
I just hit my nose. I was bleeding my own blood. Okay. All
check
right.
check out Broken Sim. Please subscribe to it. Help us defeat the shadow ban. I've been battling with the forces at YouTube via email over the past week. And check me out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard.
All right, guys, enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
But dude, go to Jim Brewer. Okay, you want go to Jim Brewer.
What do you mean go to his page?
Go to his page. Look at Jim Brewer. Go down. Go down.
What am I going down to?
See, look at his special. Now look at where was he? No, these are his like super hits.
You want his latest videos?
Yeah. Go down. Look at some of the views this guy's getting. How is Jim Brewer getting 916 views? He's shadow banned. He's so shadow banned. It's unbelievable to me.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's
He's so funny too, man.
Dude, he's one of the best.
God, he's so funny.
David, did you see this one with David Cross?
Oh yeah, David Weiss too.
Yeah, Weiss.
David Cross is so funny.
David Cross, but
he's
David
militant.
Cross.
He's a militant.
Yeah, but
angry,
he apologizes to Jim Brewer for talking shit.
Are you serious?
That's what he does.
Oh, here
on
it
the
is, right
video.
here. Hold on. Like, I would love to see that.
Let me say that I don't know if people know this, but I, in some interview or something, I talked shit about you, took a cheap shot, and we met. I didn't remember this at all. I mean, I didn't remember saying this thing, but we were backstage at some event or some show we were doing or something, and you called me on it, and I was like, huh? And I thought you did it, and you had every right to react, in any way you wanted. But I thought you were very mature about it and very, I regretted it. And the way you responded to it made me regret it more than just like, no, I should have said that thing. Like I felt your the sting, and I felt shitty in a way that you're one of two people who really, by their response to something I said, made me feel just super shitty about it.
Yeah, so that's nice.
I respect that.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
You know what's so funny about him is because he got taken on some Me Too stuff, and then it turns out that chick is absolutely crazy.
David Cross did?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
You remember because some chick was like, you made fun of me. You made Asian.
Sorry.
I don't even know. But the point is.
I don't remember that, no, but I mean, it doesn't surprise
Johnny,
me.
I'm loving this Twitter Broken Sim where we can say, and we already got 1.1 thousand people
Million.
watching. I would love it,
Yeah,
dude.
can you
Dude, we
imagine?
would never get that on anything else.
No,
ever.
no, of course
Any
not.
place.
So
we're just hanging and banging.
And then I've logged out and gone to an account that's not subscribed to SamTripoli. And again, you'll see the same thing here. Just know that other account comes up, some other stuff. You don't even get the one Broken Sim is what you get right there. We also should have by now, you should have by now gotten silver plaque from YouTube for going over 100,000. Now,
Never happened.
I've investigated that directly.
Yeah. Oh, really? Johnny's done deep dives.
I have. I've contacted YouTube about it because at first, when you try to do it, they'll say you need to send us some identifying information, a little like your name and where you live. And stuff.
Okay.
I did that, and then they got back to me with an email saying that we don't meet their qualifications for it because of a number of possible reasons, but I think it's because our content is not in line with what they deem advertiser
Because
friendly.
we talk mad shit.
That's right. Yeah. Now,
Right?
It's the same reason they're shadow banning us. It's basically them admitting it in a different way there. But yeah, it's.
And here's the thing, Johnny, and it's why I have a problem with Mark Zuckerberg. Everything we talked about turned out to be true, right? And even if you want to get into the pedogate stuff, like how many of these blackmailing rings have to happen before you go, oh, maybe that's something. God, I love not being on YouTube right now. Yeah. This show's going to be so much better. I mean, you're going to have to go through and edit it if you do put it. Yeah, it's so much better.
It'll just be later on YouTube. And fine, I'm fine with that because fuck you.
Take out all the stuff of pedogate. I have friends of mine who are just like, oh, you believe pedogate? I go, Epstein, P. Diddy.
And the stuff, it just gets worse with P. Diddy. Every new revelation.
It just
dude, I keep getting ads now. Like, they think I was abused for attorneys.
Johnny, you love getting those class action lawsuits.
Yeah,
Get
I do.
in.
I do, actually.
Johnny, just go with it. Just go with it,
How would
Johnny.
they know, honestly?
Yeah, Johnny.
pretend I got diddled, you know?
Johnny, you got diddled, but you still can't sing, so it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened, Johnny.
Let me just say, not being able to sing has not stopped a lot of people from having
Yeah,
successful
well, I
careers.
mean, Jennifer Lopez, that's the whole thing about her right now, right?
Did you see her on stage looking like a you know, just
crying? Because, dude, that's the funniest meme somebody put out. They took a meme of that like, she looks like she's like in high school, and she's like, it's such an attention whore thing. Have you ever seen it on Instagram?
No, I don't.
Here, go. Oh, this is the best. We don't got to worry about YouTube. Keep going down. Keep going. It's so funny. It's the funniest.
How long ago was this?
Must have been, but everyone. There it is. There it is.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
She's
funny.
dancing. Yeah.
This is literally Jennifer Lopez at the Kamala Harris. Right? She's like, ah. Johnny, I can't tell you how many girls in my high school were like, I almost committed suicide last night just to have people give them attention.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app, or check us out at youtube.com/SamTripoli.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hack.